What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Revival. My name is JJ, and today it's story time again. This time about the Nintendo 64 and the first time I played it. So, clearly, this is not a standard Nintendo 64. This is, a while back I did a pickups video, I think like 2 years ago, where I went to Mo Game Con, and there was a guy selling customs of these, and he had a bunch of them, but he was, basically, he wasn't going to be doing this kind of work anymore. So he discounted them like 70% off. Like, he was selling them super cheap compared to what he normally would. And I was like, dude, this thing looks so cool. You can go back and see that pickups video where I talked about it. But I just thought this thing was awesome, so I picked it up. And I do still have my original N64 that I got from my cousin. But because I'm moving, it's like somewhere in boxes. And I kind of had to make sure that when I recorded, the stuff that I wanted to use was going to be available for me to, hold in videos and stuff, and I completely forgot about that one, so it's packed, but I did have this one still out. So, we'll use that as a visual representation, even though I'm sure most of you do know what a Nintendo 64 looks like, so just imagine a black standard one, and that's the other one. So, that was fun. That's the video, guys. Thanks. No. So, when the Nintendo, obviously, like me, I'm a massive NES and Super Nintendo fan. I gush about the Super Nintendo and the experience that I had with all the RPGs on there, and, well, not all, but all the ones that I played. How much I love the early Final Fantasies and Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore, that kind of stuff. And I was really, really excited when I heard, the new Nintendo was coming out. I didn't really have access to a lot of news outlets that I could read or hear about it, other than just word of mouth from friends and say, oh, did you hear the new Nintendo's coming out? Like, oh, cool. Can you tell me anything about it? No, just know the new Nintendo's coming out, so that was all I knew. And then one day, I couldn't tell you why we were there, but we were I was with my mom, we were at a Best Buy, and, they had setups for the Nintendo 64 and the Sega Saturn. Those were the two displays they had. And back then, Best Buy had that was a big thing that people did. Anybody who grew up around that time, you know that you went into Best Buy and you saw one of those displays with the new console or something. It was almost always like there was a line or something. This time I was fortunate; there was no line. It was just me in there. And so I had the Nintendo 64 and the Sega Saturn. And I see this, and I see Mario 64 on the screen. And I was like, oh, sweet, new Mario game. My mom's like, I'm going to go check out my thing. You'll be fine here, whatever. So I grabbed the controller, and I remember grabbing it like this, because, you're used to a Super Nintendo controller where you've got the crosshairs. And I've told this story on probably both podcasts at this point. But this and this was all I was even looking at. I thought maybe this was like a way to focus your camera or something like that. I didn't even register what the stick was for. So I'm holding it, completely incorrectly like that. And I'm trying to get Mario to move on the screen. I'm like pushing forward, pushing left. And if you played Mario 64, you know that when you do that with the D-pad, it like moves the camera and kind of clicks it all over the place. So I'm like, well, what the heck? So I try maybe the yellow buttons, the C buttons. No, doesn't do anything. And so Mario's just kind of standing there while the camera's just going bonkers all around his face. And I'm like, I made him jump a couple of times. So I was able to do that. And I was finally, I don't know if I like maybe hit it by accident or something like that, but I kind of like, I remember trying this thing out and just like, because my hands were way smaller back then, I was like, you know, kind of trying to control it while holding the controller at an awkward angle, doing that. Like, some people still play like that, where they hold it all the way out, and I don't know how you do that. Because I could not get a grip on how to control Mario, and I remember, like, feeling actually angry that I couldn't figure out how to move him. I was like, this is the future of gaming? You can't even control your character? Like, what the hell, Nintendo? Like, I just want to do turn-based battles and, you know, fight alongside my Final Fantasy friends. What are you doing to me? Like, what the heck? It looks cool, but if I can't control Mario, what does it matter? A lot of you are probably looking at your screen right now going like, you're a really dumb kid. And to that I say, yeah, I was pretty dumb. So, instead, I was like, screw this. And I saw the Sega Sega Saturn display. And I absolutely remember the game that was playing. It was Nights into Dreams. Hopped on there, picked it up right away, and was just flying around, collecting the little rings and orbs or whatever it is that you collect. Flying around, I thought it was so smooth, I thought it was cool looking, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I left that day with this mindset of, I guess I'm going Sega next generation. Because back then it was all about, you know, now obviously it's PlayStation and Microsoft. But Nintendo's back up. There's definitely an argument to be made saying Nintendo is, if not on top, then at least, like, you know, comparable, because their sales are through the roof with this. So that's another video. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I was like, I guess I'm going Sega this gen, because Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing with this. I can't control Mario like that. Dumb kid. And I did not get a Sega Saturn, needless to say. I still just played my Super Nintendo. I think I got a PlayStation first, before anything. And I went to my cousins who had gotten this for Christmas. Again, the black one. And he was playing Mario 64, and I was like, how can you play that trash? It's terrible. Like, how do you... And I'm watching him, and he's like, making Mario do all these jumps and running around and doing exactly what he needs to do. I'm like, wait, how are you doing that? And he's like, oh, you hold it like this and you control it like this. And I was like, oh. So he let me try. Within 2 seconds, you know, I picked it up and I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out, other than just to say that yes, I was a dumb kid for the 4th time. I don't get it. I don't know. But after that, I was totally hooked, and I've loved Nintendo 64 ever since. Like a year or two later, he was kind of done with video games, and he offered to sell me his Nintendo 64 and all of his games for, I was like $150 or something at the time, and he had, I don't know, 5 or 6 games. So, you know, it was fine. And I bought it from him, and I played the hell out of it. And I still, to this day, I love the Nintendo 64. Obviously, GoldenEye, you know, that was the party game. The fact that this thing had, you know, 4 slots for controllers, you didn't have to buy a multi-tap, was mind-blowing at the time. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Like, awesome, dude. Like, I get a bunch of controllers, I can have video game parties, this will be sweet. So it was really exciting to finally learn how to actually use this thing. And I'm glad that my cousin was able to, thank you, Craig, for showing me how to not be a dummy. So yeah, I just wanted to share that story because I'm like, I love this system now, and at the time, I just remember being so mad in that Best Buy until I played Nights into Dreams to calm me down. And to be honest, like, I have Nights into Dreams now, and I have a Dreamcast, but I have not even plugged in the Dreamcast. God, why do I keep saying Dreamcast? I do have a Dreamcast, but Sega Saturn. I do have a Saturn, and I have Nights into Dreams, but I have not even plugged it in. I do plan on it this year because I want to play Albert Odyssey, as I mentioned in my backlog video. But I am, like... I will probably give Nights into Dreams a try again, because it came with it when I bought the console. And just to be like, Okay, I remember. Watch me not be able to control it now. I mean, like, these controls sucked. What was I thinking? I was such a dumb kid. But I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's just another story time, guys. You know me. I'm the nostalgic nut. So yeah, once again, what are your not even necessarily Nintendo 64, just let me know, like, a goofy video game story when you first got introduced to a console or a new controller or something like that, and you were just like, this is horrible, and you found out later on it was something maybe you had done wrong, or just something along the line. Tell me a story. I don't care. Just tell me a story, because I love reading it. I love hearing from you guys. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. And as always, keep on gaming.